Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacy. I'm the dyer behind Stress Knits Yarn, and I'm coming to you from Detroit, Michigan, where I live with my husband Doug, our daughter Eliza, and our pug Esther. Today is January 29th, and today I'm bringing you, what is it? It is January Makes February Plans. I can't believe the month of January is over. It felt like it lasted 1,000 years, but we are here. It's almost over. Tuesday is coming, and I'm very excited for February. So I actually knit a lot more than I was expecting to this past month. It was a pretty crazy month. I was very tired all of the time, and this is also one of the busiest times of work for me, so it was just a long one. So like usually I have a 4-day work week, which is very nice, and like yesterday was Friday and I had to go in and I was there for 9 hours, so like it's a busy time of the year, but it was also a lot of fun and I've learned a lot, so it's been really great. But I also got a lot of knitting done. I have a finished object. I have some substantial work on some projects I don't think you've seen knit up yet, that I talked about in my December Makes New Year Plans video. And I'm just really excited to share it with you. And I also have shop update news. Oh, finally. This is my first real shop update in Detroit, so I'm very excited about it. Yeah, but that will be at the end for those of you who aren't interested in Stress Knits news. Okay, so we should probably just jump into it, and I will talk about stuff as it pops into my brain. I am drinking an iced pistachio latte from Starbucks with only 2 pumps of pistachio, and it is so good. One of my favorite beverages that's like seasonal beverages Starbucks brings. I think they started it last year, and I love it. I try to get it like once a week. So good. Okay, finished objects. Okay, so this has a whole, I'm a little disappointed. But first, this is the Illuminate by Andrea Mowry of Andrea Renee Knits, and this was her Rhinebeck sweater for 2021. And it's beautiful. The yoke is just stunning. It uses it used mohair held double, but I held Surrey alpaca double, and then Spincycle yarns dyed in the wool, which just does this amazing thing. But me just holding it up, you can kind of see this like weird like ripply wavy thing that's happening. And that's why I'm not wearing it today. I haven't blocked it yet. So it fits, but it looks really weird because it's like there's this weird extra like thing happening in my boob area, and I have a pretty large bust and I don't want that there. It makes me feel self-conscious and not great. The sleeves fit really well. I like the length. I think it's perfect for high-waisted jeans or over a dress or with a skirt, so that's perfect. I did a fold over neckline and it kind of twisted, but I just didn't care. I don't think you can really tell. And I love the colors. I used Spincycle dyed in the wool rusted rainbow, and the Surrey is my Surrey. It is so Stress Knits Surrey Eloise. It's a very warm light pink. I love it. But yeah, you can see this weird ripply thing happening. So I knit the size 48 for about 6 inches of positive ease, which is what I like. I like stuff with a little room. I like to be able to move. I don't like feeling like I'm in a sausage casing. I just don't like stuff tight around my bust. And so this fits, like it has the amount of positive ease that I wanted. I have gauge, like right on gauge. If I go up a needle size or 2, I always meet gauge with Andrea, which is really nice. I've knit enough of her patterns that I know that. And I've knit her yoked sweaters before. So I knit the pink velvet sweater, which I no longer have. It was a casualty of the summer, and I loved the way that that fit me. And I also knit that a size down. It only had about 2 inches of positive ease. It was about a 44. And I really liked the way that fit, but I wanted it to be a little bit more boxy. So that's why I was like, okay, I'll go to the next size up and it'll work out perfectly. The increases are not the same on this sweater as they are in the pink velvet, and I think that has to do with the chart. So, I'm going to block it out and like see what happens. But like if you see, so this is what happens when it's on my body. Do you see how it kind of like creates this third boob in the middle of the sweater? It's just a little weird. And so I'm hoping that maybe with blocking and like blocking the body out, that'll fix it. I love the sweater. I don't know if I'll wear it. It might just be a really beautiful piece to hang up somewhere, which is fine. I really enjoyed knitting it for the most part. The sleeves were a little not fun for me because I was alternating and having to like carry yarn up a small circumference, which is not my favorite. But I think it's still beautiful, and I know a lot of people who really love theirs, so maybe just blocking it will change it, but I just haven't taken the time to do that because I wanted to do other things. So I will take the time to do that, and maybe you will see this on me in February or for another video. I'm not sure yet, but that is my Illuminate by Andrea Mowry. I love the yarn. Surrey in sweaters is really just the superior fluff. My issue with Surrey, excuse me, it's a little, excuse me, I sleep with a fan on and it's really dry in our bedroom, and so I'm kind of like dealing with that because I woke up just a little bit ago. Anyway, what was I saying? Surrey alpaca. My only issue with Surrey versus mohair is I prefer the drape of mohair more than I prefer the drape of Surrey, which is why in this next, I need to retire this basket. I carried too many heavy things in it and it definitely broke. I might try to mend it, but it's like, it's breaking everywhere. Sad. But I do need to just retire this. So I'm actually gonna take everything out of it right now because it's shedding, and I have another basket just like it under my desk. Okay, so I had scissors in there. Okay, now I have all like the basket shavings on my yarn. This is the Anson cardigan by Fine Fiber Co. And of course I'm in the middle of the row. I knew I was. And I was like, Stacy, you need to just finish that before you start recording. So I'm going to knit on it and also pick up the stitch while I talk to you about it. So I have some issues with this sweater right out of the gate. One, it's not size inclusive, which I try to knit mostly size inclusive things. I think that's very important, but I signed up to be a test knitter before I realized that that was happening, that was a part of it. I think it only goes up to like a 48-inch bust, and it's supposed to have like 6 inches of positive ease, so it's technically only a 42. And I think there's more wiggle room with cardigans because they're weird, but this is a cardigan that's meant to be worn closed, because it has tie fronts to it, which is why I love it. It's really a shame that more people can't knit this because it is such a beautiful, simple, everyday sweater that I could wear with high-waisted jeans, with a sweater, with a dress, with a skirt, with just about anything. It is cute. It's a little cropped and it ties in the front. I will link the pattern below. All of the show notes are in the description box below the video. it'll say show more, and you'll see like my social media, you'll see my shop, you'll see Patreon, you'll see the show notes where I link all of these sweaters that I talk about. But yeah, so this sweater is a little disappointing because it doesn't have a large range of sizes. So there's that. I just want to be very transparent about that because I think it's important that people know. But I really loved this sweater, and I signed up to be a test knitter, and then I failed, and then I felt guilty about failing, and I think it's beautiful. So I decided to knit it anyway. And this is turning into what I'm hoping to be, hoping to be my birthday sweater. I'm sorry, I was way further in this row than I thought I was. Almost done. My birthday sweater. My birthday is February 20th, and I am getting close to being done with the length of the body. You knit to about 11-ish inches. I might knit to 12 because I like my stuff just a little bit longer. And I also have a bust, right? So sometimes that length will just shrink up because there's more surface area right here. So I'm probably going to knit to about 12 and a half inches. I'm going to take my gauge before I do that because I know how much this grows. I swatched, but I didn't. Sometimes my gauge in a project is a little bit different than my gauge in the swatch. So I want to make sure that it's not going to grow exponentially in length before I knit it a little bit longer. And then you knit the little ties on the left and the right side. And then, there's a button band, there's sleeves. So I still got a way to go on this. And February 20th is fast approaching, but there's still time. And if I really put the pedal to the metal on this, I really think I can get this done, but there's something else I want to have at a certain spot by my birthday for reasons I'll talk about when I get to that pattern. But the Anson cardigan is incredibly beautiful, and I swatched with both Surrey alpaca and mohair. And the mohair, I love the way the mohair feels more. It's kind of velvety, which I really like. And I think when I knit, I really want to knit another cozy classic raglan. I really want to knit, there's another sweater held with mohair that has been on my list for a while. I don't know, but I think I'm going to substitute those with Surrey. If I like this sweater enough, I think I would knit one with Surrey and just kind of compare and contrast. I think that would be really fun. Okay, last like 12 stitches or 20. I really did not think this through, but then you get to see me purl, which is always exciting, right? I'm sorry I'm saying so much. Yes, but I just prefer Surrey alpaca to mohair. I don't have issues with mohair. I had a cozy classic raglan that I knit in Eliza's first birthday colorway, Accidental Gemini, which is actually how the glow colorway was born, which is fun fact. But again, it's gone forever, and I'm probably going to reknit it in that colorway. But this is the Anson cardigan. I'm not knitting the largest size, I'm knitting the second to largest size, and I don't have it handy. I'll put the size I'm knitting below, but again, I wanted this to be a little oversized because I love oversized top layers. It is my favorite thing to wear something that's a little bit more fitted on the base layer with something that has a little bit more room up top. Sometimes if it's really hot, I'll like slip my shoulder out and like get some airflow. So I just wanted this to be a really cozy, this isn't something I would wear somewhere like really fancy. I wanted this to be a more casual cardigan. So it's a little bit bigger than I would knit. I would knit the size down if I was knitting this to be a little bit more fitted. And I also stopped the raglans early because I was getting nervous about how large this was getting. So I wanted my sleeves a little tighter anyway, so that's all going to work out. And I also think it's hard to show cardigans before the button bands are on because it looks a little awkward and it's rolling, but it really is just a nice simple stockinette cardigan. So I'm getting there. This is how much I've knit past the armhole separation. It's probably about 8 inches-ish. I have a tape measurer over here. Let's do it. I think it's in here. It is. It's happening. I don't know. There are things that are happening in my project bags that I just do not understand. I don't know what that is. Okay, tape measure. This is actually from Julie of Sweet Sparrow's advent calendar from this past year. Her advent calendars are going on sale February 1st. Big fan of Julie's yarn. Let's see. Okay, let's measure this together because I have no idea how far I am. My guess is about 7 inches. Haha, 7.5. Amazing. So I have about 3 to 4 more inches to go. I might be able to knock this out today. The body, maybe, because I am going to be dyeing yarn today to finish up some stuff for the update. But I really love it. I'm knitting this out of Stress Knits yarn in my halo base, which is my mohair. Look at that. Halo, which is why it's called that. It's because there's just a crazy halo on my mohair and I love it. And then my favorite base, which is an 80/20, which is why it's called my favorite. I would knit everything, and I do knit everything out of my favorite base. So held together, this colorway was meant to be Copper Boom. That was my plan, to knit the sweater in Copper Boom, but I forgot to over dye it like I do, and it just wasn't as dark, but I loved it so much that I just kind of kept it. And I really like it. I think it's beautiful. It's kind of a terracotta, like a terracotta rosy color. I don't know. I love it. But this is not a colorway that's in the shop at the moment. I don't know if it ever will be. I don't know if I could replicate it. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so I love this sweater. Wish it was size inclusive, but the Anson by Fine Fiber Co. My goal is to have this done by my birthday. We'll see. Then the other thing that I'm working on that I kind of have a birthday deadline with is my Half and Half triangles wrap. I am on skein 2 of my Half and Half, and I would like to be transitioning to the second color, which is Rosewood Pink, on my birthday. I really love the symbolism of the transition in this project, and I wanted it to be something a little bit special for this. It's been just like in a project bag, so it's a little wrinkly, but this is my 4th Half and Half triangles wrap. I've knit 3 before this, obviously it's number 4. I've knit 2 for myself, and I have knit 1 for my mom. And so this is Honey Pink. It is the perfect color, and pairing it with, oh gosh, it's just so beautiful. I love it so much. Rosewood Pink. So I have about 50 grams left of skein 2, and then I usually knit about 40 to 50 grams of skein 3 before I'm done. This is how many stitches are left on part 1, and it gets easier and easier because the rows get shorter and shorter on the first half. So I definitely think that this is a possibility, especially if I just, like, after I finish the body of my cardigan, maybe just really sit down and kind of whip this out. That's just the perfect knitting companion. It's stockinette, it's garter flat. You're just knitting back and forth, and there's nothing I love more. So it's just the perfect project, and I'm excited to have this one to where I actually keep my first one in the office, because our office goes from like sauna to the North Pole in 10 minutes. So I have it and I've used it as a blanket. I've put it over my shoulders. I've wrapped myself in it. It's just a great thing. But this color combination is just of my dreams, and I cannot wait to have this done. And I just love that this is knitting in my 27th year, and then this will be knitting in my 28th year. And I don't know, I love symbolism. I think it's fun. So that is my half and half triangles wrap. Hopefully next time I will be on the second color when I show this to you. And if anybody's interested, I knit mine as is. I'm doing wrap and turns. I did German short rows on my third and I liked it, but wrap and turns just feels more flowy when I knit them. And I also like the ridge it creates on the shawl. So I'm doing wrap and turns. I go up, this is a US, it's either a 4 or a 5. Do I have my needle gauge? I do have a needle gauge. This is a US 5. This is a 5. It calls for US 3. And I'm just a tight knitter, and I really love 5s and fingering weight yarn, so that's what I went with. And that's really it. That's my half and half. I've talked about it ad nauseum. There are a lot of videos out there about this project, so if you have any questions, you should be able to find those answers there. And then the project I talked about casting on in the last video, I cast on, and I love it. This has been taking a back seat because I have some goals that I want to accomplish before my birthday. So this has taken a back seat, but I still am in love with my pressed flower shawl. Seeing this on camera, this is an absolute dream. And of course I'm in the middle of a row on this one too, but I pulled everything so that, but look at this. Look at this. I am using Stress Since Yarn DK in Sunflower and Palm Lines. I love these two colors together. And I just thought that this would be such a beautiful combination, and I was right. It's beautiful. So, things about this pattern I was not aware of, and I was pleasantly surprised by. So 1, DK weight shawl, amazing. 2, mosaic knitting, slip stitches. You are only working one color at a time. 3, this is textured. It's not stockinette, it's textured. I thought this was just stockinette and what's called like fleece stitches, where it's like every other. Nope, it's a texture. And that texture is just so, I don't know if you can see the bumpiness, maybe there. It is the squishiest, most amazing fabric ever. I think I'm knitting these on a US 7. I think these are 7s. But I just love it so much. So I'm not super far on it. This is something that's going to get love after my Anson cardigan's done and after I'm halfway on my half and half wrap. but I love it so much, and it's so beautiful. This is the Pressed Flower Shawl by Amy Christoffers, and I love it. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. I think this is my favorite whip that, like, already of 2022. It's that good. It's so good. Next, the last project I'm working on, which has also taken a backseat, but I had to cast on. And actually, this is going to bring me to some podcasts that have come into my life in the past year plus. It's been like the past year and a half that I've really been enjoying. And one of those is 104 stitches. Emily, I'm sorry. But with Emily, she loves baseball. She's a baseball analyst, which is super cool. And that's why her podcast is called that. But she just she just finished her Briochealicious by Andrea Mowry. And when I saw it, so first she was showing the yarn she was going to use, which is this color palette. And it's Purl Soho Linen Quill. And I don't know if you guys knew this. I have a ton. Oh, you can't see it. I have a ton of it. You really can't see it. It's these 3 little blocks down here are all Linen Quill. I have almost every color. I love this yarn so much. But she picked out this color palette, and I loved it because it reminds me of those retro t-shirts that have like the 3 lines, and it's like a creamy color and then the primary colors. And I loved it. And that was her inspiration. I was like, yes, that's exactly what this reminds me of. And I love those. And I would never wear that t-shirt. Actually, I might. But a shawl? Yes, sign me up. And then she showed the finished object on her last episode. And I lost my mind and cast it on immediately because I had all of the colors. So, main color. You need 2 skeins of the main color. This is Honey Pink, an all-time favorite, and then 1 each of the contrast colors. I'm going to show you in order. So, Turmeric Yellow, Chestnut Red, Vintage Celadon. Amazing. And this is where I'm at. Oh, I love this so much. This shawl is huge, and I am so excited. So if you're not familiar with the shawl, this is one of Andrea's earlier shawl patterns, but pre-Find Your Fade. And it is chunks of garter. Then you're going to have a chunk of brioche, garter, brioche, garter, brioche, garter. It's amazing. So I cast on immediately. And again, I'm just putting this away until some stuff is off my needles, but I needed to cast it on because, yes, I'm going to wear this all the time. And I love linen quill wrapped around my neck, and just having something else that isn't a half and half wrap around my neck. Absolutely. This would also be a good entry into Caddy Jacks for the quill of it because you're using linen quill. So very excited to have this queued up and ready to go. And I love knitting brioche, so I'm really enjoying it. But again, back burner. I'm hoping to be done with the first section by the next time I show it to you. Very excited about it. So that is Emily of 104 stitches. It's either 104 or 108, but I will link her podcast below. Next is Stephanie of Edible Thoughts Makes. I love Stephanie. She also has an obsession with half and half triangles wraps. She is amazing. Highly recommend her channel. And then last but certainly not least is Aro of Aro Knits and Purls. I've loved her for a long time. She knits a lot of stuff that I really love and has actually inspired one of my next cast-ons, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I just, I'll watch an episode of her podcast and then I don't watch podcasts, video, YouTube, knitting stuff for a while, and then I'll come back to her and then I'll like just not watched stuff for a while. But I've been sitting and binging all of her back episodes, and she is just so delightful. Big fan. Her knitting is beautiful. The colors are right up my alley. It's great. So 104. Emily, 104 stitches. I think it's 104. Edible Thoughts makes Stephanie and Aro of Aro Knits and Purls. 3 amazing women that I would highly recommend you follow on Instagram and subscribe to their YouTube channels. Just wonderful. But watching Aro Knits and Purls, I was trying to figure out, I really want to do a birthday cast on this year. I try to do it every year, and every year it just kind of doesn't happen. And this year I saw her Lazy Daisy tank. I will link the pattern below because I didn't write it down and I don't remember the designer. I think her name is Rachel. But there's also like a Lazy Daisy cardigan, and it's just beautiful. It's a basic tank top, and you embroider daisies on them. And I thought it was super sweet, super cute, and that is what I'm going to cast on for my birthday. Very excited about it. Haven't quite figured out the colors I'm going to knit, but I'm leaning towards like a copper boom sweater, which is like this really beautiful rusty pinky orange kind of color that I dye, and then embroidering it with maybe palm lines, which is my Barely There pink, and some either golden hour or sunflower centers. So I don't know, I'm really excited about it. It's just, I've been thinking a lot about tank tops lately because, again, I layer a lot in my everyday wear, and I think that would be just something that's so wearable. I would like to knit another outline tank. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to knit all of the things right now. But we're going to segue into Stress Knits yarn. So if you're not interested, that is totally okay. But I will see you next time. And if you are interested, there will be a shop update Monday, January 31st, which is my dad's birthday, at 7 p.m. Eastern over on my website. And it's going to be a huge one. There's over 300 skeins of yarn. I've told you, I was preparing for this. So now I won't have every color on every base because I just didn't have the arsenal of bare yarn, and I wasn't able to make an order for this update. So there will be more DK and some more worsted in the next update. There will be a little bit in this update, but it's mostly going to be Favorite, Halo, which is mohair, Surrey, which is alpaca, or Cloud, which is Surrey alpaca, and mini skeins. But there will also be DK of sunflower and palm lines. I also had a request for eucalyptus by multiple people, which I'm very into. I love my eucalyptus colorway, and I don't think it gets enough love. But it's also kind of like the color of the year. Not Pantone. Pantone's is purple. But if you're new here, I'm not the biggest fan of purple. I have like one purple in my line, maybe 2, and it's just not my color. But it's like the Sherwin-Williams color of the year is the most perfect green ever. I almost called it Evergreen Harbor, but that's a Sims 4 town. But it's something along those lines. And yeah, so I'm very excited that more people are waking up to the beauty that is my eucalyptus colorway. I did bring it over, but I can show you. Let's see. Okay. So this is eucalyptus on Favorite. There are these occasional little blips, which I really love, but it's just this really beautiful tonal green. And I actually am thinking about knitting one of my next sweaters out of eucalyptus because I love it so much. It's a similar color to my nail polish, which is from Essie. I forget what it's called. I'll try to remember to link it below. But I'm just very into these greens right now, so very excited you are too. So there will be eucalyptus, glow, palm lines, mint, Mountain Mama. There will also be dahlia and sunflower, and Copper Boom is coming back. I finally figured out the recipe for her, so she's coming back. But this is just a smattering of what I'm going to have available. A bunch of it is downstairs drying right now. I need to skein it up. But this was my color palette for my Stephen West Mystery Knit Along for this year. This was my color palette, and I love it. It's perfect. These are my favorite colors right here. But I wanted to show you some of the speckle colors that are coming, or what I lovingly refer to as splotchy colors coming to the shop. We have Where Does the Good Go, which is one of my absolute favorite colorways I've ever dyed. It has all of these fun like pinks and blues in with the yellow. And yeah, also, when I said I don't like purple, this is mauve. This is definitely purple, but this has special memories behind it, and so I love it. And I don't care. Yeah, Where Does the Good Go? And then I have, from last year's Advent, I brought back Terrazzo, which is one of my favorite colorways I've ever dyed. I love Terrazzo. And Supermarket Flowers, just in time for Valentine's Day. Love Supermarket Flowers. And then from this year's Advent, I am bringing Folklore, which is based off of Taylor Swift, of course. Folklore, Kitsch, and I have a few extra skeins of my day 25, which is called On the Tree. I'm hoping to actually have a Christmas update this year. We'll see what happens. I'm not making any promises, but this colorway won't be back until then. So this is called On the Tree, and it is just perfect. It is my favorite kind of Christmas. This, all of my day 25 colors, most of my Christmas colorways are inspired by my favorite Christmas songs. And so like last year was Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. The year before that was Last Christmas by Wham. And then this year is On the Tree by Sufjan Stevens, which is one of my favorite Christmas albums, Songs for Christmas. It's from like 2005. Love it. It's the best. So that. And I have a bunch of other colorways, like there will be Dried Lavender, Sunflower, Dried Lavender, Sunflower, Dahlia. There's gonna be a bunch. And then as far as mini skein kits go, I'm going to have a version of my original Dahlia mini skein kit. All of my cut flower collection kits from last year, they are not repeatable. I just kind of dyed them as is. So this will be a version of that Dahlia collection. It's a very beautiful pink mini skein set if you're into that. And then my darling Emma of Bloom and Create Designs. She is amazing. She designed her new sock pattern Glimmer with Stress Knits yarns, and I am so excited. And I am doing the kits of the 5 colorways that she used. So she took my Merry and Bright kit, which I do for Christmas, and it is 8 colorways, and she picked out 5. So instead of making people buy the full 8, I'm just going to do the 5 mini skein sets, and my mini skein price did go up, so unfortunately the price of that is going up. I'm trying to keep everything else as is, but mini skeins are just a little bit more expensive. So if you see that price jump, that's why. But I feel like every dyer is like, guys, like, price of yarn has gone up several times in the past few years, and it's getting to the point where I'm thinking about raising prices, but I really like where my price point is on all of my stuff, so I really don't want to raise it anymore, but that might be having to happen at some point. Just a heads up. So she chose from my Marion Bright collection, Palm Lines, Glow, Pillow Mint, so it's a little bluer than this, and then Mountain Mama and Brick. I don't have a full skein of Brick. I actually didn't have enough yarn to dye Brick Tonals full skeins, but will be in these mini sets. So, goodness, falling all over myself. So this is the color palette that Emma used, and that is the color palette that will be in the shop, just in case you want glimmer socks that look just like Emma's. So there will be that, and Dahlia, maybe 1 or 2 more mini sets. I don't know, it depends on how much time I have today and tomorrow to dye yarn, but we also need to get it photographed. So we will see what happens there. But I think that's everything. Again, the shop update is January 31st. It's Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Over 300 skeins. So I hope people are able to get what they want. But please remember, I'm one person and I do Stress Knits part-time along with my full-time job. And I'm still raising the cutest human ever. So just be gracious about that, maybe. You guys are always really good, but if you are new around here, it might be disappointing if you can't get what you want, and I totally understand that. I've been disappointed in updates before, but I'm hoping that I dyed enough to get most people what they want. And I also, people have been asking about kits and pre-orders, and I just wanted to explain why I don't do that really fast. So I don't do kits because everyone's gauge is different, and I have had kits in the past where people have run out of yarn, even though I am dyeing to what the pattern calls for. And so I just, no, we're not doing that. Or if like a dye lot is slightly different than the one that they saw, they get really upset. So I've chosen not to do kits anymore. And then, but if I do have something like my pressed flower shawl that everyone really has been asking for kits for, I will make sure to have extra sunflower and palm lines on DK so multiple people can get the shawl quantity that they need. And then as far as pre-orders, no. I've done like clubs and pre-orders in the past. I am doing a club right now. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in its own separate video in February, but I'm doing the Garden Club, which is 5 mystery mini skeins based on one of my favorite cut flowers. February has already closed, and it was it's roses, and I already have all the extras that are going into the packages and all the packaging here, and I'm dyeing up this weekend and starting to get those pumped out. But I will be sharing that with you in February before the signups for the next flower, which is daffodils. Very excited about that. But that is different because I'm not doing like a 3-month club, but life happens. And the last time I did a club, I got very sick with Eliza, and I am terrified that if I got sick, if I got COVID, if like something just came up, if like something bad happened, like the flood, like I don't want to have people's money without being able to turn it around quickly. So clubs and pre-orders, because if I do a pre-order, it's going to be like 8 to 12 weeks. And that is just too big of a time frame to think that I would be good to go. That like nothing would happen where that would be impossible to make happen. So that is why I don't do it. But with the cut flower collection, like it's a 4-week turnaround, probably less. And I'll probably end up dyeing March with February. So like it's just easier for me to do something a month at a time rather than 2 to 3 months out. That's really scary. And I'm also, because of like the flood that happened this past year in the middle of Advents, I am terrified of Advents. So I'm going to start dyeing those pretty soon before I offer them, because I'm like just nervous about this year. Last year was so messy that this year it just made me a little nervous to promise something and then something goes wrong. So we're going to try to avoid that at all costs this year. That's the plan. I need to water this plant. Don't judge me. It's looking a little sad. Okay, I think that's everything. I've talked enough. This is way longer than it needed to be. So I hope you are having a good weekend or a good day or whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in February.